Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tim Dillon Show, our final episode from the UK. They have been very hospitable to us here, and we thank them. And it's good to get out of the United States and kind of see how mentally ill many people in our country are from a distance. I'm usually seeing that up close in an uncomfortably close capacity. It is good to take a flight and then appreciate that level of illness, because it is a level of mental illness that is quite rampant in our society. And I'm not saying it's not here, but I'm not here to study that. I'm here to come, I'm here to ignore that, and I'm here to see it in my own country. R.I.P. to Thomas Massie, a man who never came on this show. We invited him many times to come on this show. I am not saying that's the reason he lost, obviously. I think it's more the Miriam Adelson spending $32 million. However, would it have hurt to come on the show? Because Ro Khanna, that guy, kept trying to get on the show. And I go, you got to bring in Massie. And then Massie's team would constantly say no. So I feel bad for Massie. I agree with his stance on the Epstein files, release them, and the Iran war and the funding of Israel. And those are the reasons that he is no longer in Congress. I don't know how you run a country where people can just dump $32 million into a race. I think what it's showing you is that if you spend enough money, you can just create any reality you want. No one knows who the hell the other guy is. He was just handpicked, came out of nowhere, was a veteran, was like, we got to get kids back into the military. We got to get them to Iran now. Now, you would think that's probably not a super popular idea. Let's bring back the draft. Let's get your son out of the house and into Iran. You would think that as ideas go, that's probably a relatively hard sell. However, if you spend enough money in American politics, you can create any reality you want. This guy who's like, release the Epstein files, hold people accountable, prosecute pedophiles, get out of foreign wars. That guy loses to a guy who's like, let's cover up the Epstein files. Let's not prosecute pedophiles. Let's go to war with your kids. You would think just platform to platform. That's a tough sell. Like, that's a hard sell. But with enough money, if you dump enough money into anything in America, you can create. We see it in entertainment. There's some genuinely talented people in American entertainment, some of the most talented people in the world. I'm going to say the most talented people in the world have come out of America. And if you doubt that, go watch Eurovision. Go watch Eurovision. We don't have a good healthcare system. Our food is poison. 14-year-olds are shooting their parents. People in my country get famous for killing their children. There's shows about it. There's a lot of things that we're not doing particularly well. But our entertainers are the best in the world. Now, that doesn't mean that they all are. A lot of them have been pushed by a machine that will not allow you to not like them. You're simply not allowed. The level of ferocity that the level of marketing behind some of our public figures, you're not allowed to not like them. You're not allowed to even be agnostic. You must love them or hate them. They are pushed down your throat to a degree that you must either join the cult that they have, or you must reject it and then like put lamb's blood on your door and darken your windows so that these people are not invading every minute of your day. Because in America, we have that power. We have this machine that can get behind anybody and push them to a point where you go, I don't even know if I like this, but fine, okay. And what Miriam Adelson and Paul Singer and others and a lot of these super PACs, very pro-Israel, pro-Iran war, pro-keeping the Epstein files under lock and key, they spent an amount of money that has never been spent before in a congressional race in America. And they spent enough money to take a guy who no one really knew, who ran on a platform that was the opposite of what Trump ran on a year ago. And yet many Republican voters who voted for Trump on the platform of staying out of war and transparency elected this guy, Ed Gallrein, on a platform of like more war, less transparency. Do you have an Ed Gallrein campaign ad? I don't even know. I'm sure that they exist, obviously, because that's where all the fucking money went. I've only been to Kentucky a few times. I've performed there. The people are great. I wanted to meet that American Pharaoh horse, which won the Triple Crown. They would not let me. Or maybe it was Justify. I think it was American Pharaoh. I think they were afraid I was going to jerk it off or something. I just wanted to take a photo with it. But all those horses are owned by Saudis, and they won't let you near them. And those Saudis spend lots of money on those horses, and they're in stables. And I was trying to get an audience with this horse to take a photo, but because it was owned by some sheikh, I couldn't do it. That has nothing to do with anything. I'm just saying that was my experience in Kentucky. That's not why Ed Gallrein defeated Thomas Massie. Again, that's more than $32 million. I guess is this an ad here with Trump in it? I don't know how this guy sold up. He was a retired Navy SEAL, so people like that. He's like, I'm a Navy SEAL. Okay, so here's an Ed Gallrein campaign ad, and this is where all the money went, this and other things. And let's take a look at what sold the people.
This is a real hero, Ed Gallrein.
No one in the back even knows who he is.
Tremendous war hero, and he's a great patriot. I can tell you, he's strong as hell. He shook my hand. My hand is still recovering. I'm telling you, that is the greatest candidate. This guy is unbelievable.
Look at the people.
Central casting.
Central casting. Stop it. Stop it for a minute. Trump literally said central casting. The term central casting means that they've just like, if I look at somebody who looks like a meth head on the street and I go like central casting, that means like that person so embodies the just very general sense of a meth head that I could put them into a film as a meth head and everyone would automatically believe that they were a meth head. When Trump says about Ed Gallrein, central casting, what he means is like, we found this guy that was a war hero. He was a Navy SEAL. He's tall. He's a good looking, he's an older guy, but he's like, he presents well. He's central casting. We're putting him in to fool you. He's using the word casting. He's going, yeah, we're putting him in to fool you. He's kind of an actor. I'm sure he was a war hero, whatever. I don't know. And I'm sure he was. I mean, I get it. But like, they're saying we got a real problem with this guy, Thomas Massie, who's relatively physically a little diminutive. He's a shorter guy. He's a nerdy looking guy, whatever. He's got a great family. And, whatever. I'm not shitting on Thomas Massie, but like, they found this tall ex-Navy SEAL, again, central casting, and they go, no. This guy's the real patriot. Ed Gallrein, he shook my hand. When he shook my hand, he almost broke my hand. And that's how dumb the people in our country are. That's how absolutely stupid their brains have rotted in their heads. and they've leaked out of their ears onto their pillow at night. And because of that, when he's got a strong handshake, he's a patriot. And they actually voted for this. This actually worked. Central casting, he shook my hand. That actually worked. Let's watch the rest of it.
Central casting. Just elect him. Ed Gallrein.
Just elect him. By the way, stop that for a minute. The pitch was just elect him. It's like Nike, just do it. It's like your mother going, just clean your room. I don't want to hear anything. The pitch for this guy, after admitting he was central casting, he's a selected candidate. The pitch was, just elect him. He shook my hand. He's got, what a handshake he's got. Just elect this guy, and we won't have any problems. Let's finish. We've only got 3 seconds.
I'm Ed Gallrein, and I approve this message.
You know who doesn't talk at all in that commercial? Ed Gallrein. Ed Gallrein says nothing that entire commercial, that entire ad. Ed Gallrein says absolutely nothing about anything, and nobody really knows. But I don't know if Massie's against Citizens United. I think he said he's still not against Citizens United, which allows people to dump billions of dollars into politics. So I don't know how to help anybody. I think you got to get money out of politics in America. And if you don't go to public funding of campaigns, and if you don't get money out of politics, and if you go Miriam Adelson, who's a U.S. citizen, a dual citizen, but a U.S. citizen, if she's allowed to raise $32 million of her own money, of somebody else's money, and spend it in a state she doesn't even live to affect the race of a congressman she doesn't like, if that's the game, then that's the game she's going to play. And other people are going to play. So you've got to change that. You've got to change it on one level or on many levels. You can either end dual citizenship. You can end private money in politics, which I think is a great idea. Super PACs and billions of dollars and raising all this money and letting donors completely control the entire system. But you got to get on board. You got to get on board for that. Otherwise, this will happen again and again and again, and it'll just get stupider. Central casting. He shook my hand. They'll just start picking different archetypes of people that are supposed to appeal to you on some guttural lizard brain level. War hero. It'll never be more than a few words. She's a mom who's had enough. And it'll be some mom they trot out. And they'll be like, she's a mom and she's had enough. You won't even know enough of what. They won't even specify what she's had enough of. They won't even do that. They don't have to. She's a mom and she's had enough. And she'll fold her arms like this. And they'll be like, she's pissed. And it'll be some woman that some super PAC, either the Tech Demons or Adelson or somebody, they will dump tens of millions of dollars into making the, quote, mom who's had enough your next congresswoman. And there'll be nothing you can do about it. Because much like everything in our country, you will be inundated with ads. You will be inundated with it is a psyop. Everything in America right now. People get mad when I say this, and I don't care. Everything is some type of psyop. And that doesn't mean that you should lose all contact with reality. But what I mean by that, okay, is that, and they're not even good. The psyops are not even good. They're not good. They're effective because you're aiming for the lowest common denominator. And what I mean by a psyop is they're literally coming out and inventing people and inventing, and you have to go along with it. And the way they get you to do that is by shoving it down your throat. There's nowhere for you to go. You cannot escape. The only escape from this is death. You can't get away from it. War hero, war hero, war hero, war. They're in Kentucky doing whatever the fuck they do at a Waffle House. War hero, war hero, war hero, war hero. Navy SEAL, handshake, Navy SEAL, war hero, Navy SEAL. To a point where, like a horde of zombies, I guess they go into the voting booth and vote for this guy who's trying to quite literally kill their children. He wants their children dead, but because every day, war hero, Navy SEAL, handshake, war hero, loyal, America, patriot, America, Lord. You just get to a point you go, I don't even know what's up and what's down, what's real or what's fake. This is what I mean about a psyop. This is not a campaign. These are not campaigns, not campaigns about ideas where people are debating ideas. This is a psychological operation aimed at the lowest common denominator, lizard brain instincts that you have. War, hero, good, patriot, America, apple, pie, vote. It is a strange, guttural, it's like an EMP. It's like an electromagnetic pulse weapon that Adelson's got in Kentucky. War, good, hero, apple, America, pie, family. It means no. Then you go, what does he want to do? He wants to kill your children. He wants your children in the Middle East getting killed. That's what it is. So we're dealing with such a it's not, this is what bothers me. It's not good if you have a modicum of intelligence. It's not even good. It doesn't even inspire. You can look at things that the government has pulled off and went, wow. They dotted all their I's and they crossed all their T's. Now they have such little respect for you. They have almost no respect for you. You're being treated like an adolescent who is asking too many questions and is, bothering them. Right now, the American public is bothering the government. And the government is dealing with that by making up stories and spending and having their emissaries go out there and say, this is reality. You understand that? As long as you live in my house, you got to live under my rules. And in my house, Ed Gallrein is a patriot who wants the best for you and your children who are going to die in the Middle East. They're going to die in Iran. And people are so sick of their children now. And their children there's no prospect for their children and there's no prospects for their jobs. I have said this before on the show. Now, the boomers, their children are older. But the boomers now are looking at their grandchildren, and because their children have missed the window, although the draft might go up to 42. So the boomers are still very excited about their children dying in a war. It's all they ever wanted. It's all the boomers ever wanted was to have their child go to a Middle Eastern war and get their head blown off. This is their greatest fantasy. They could go around town. They don't have to leave the house to the kid. They can sell the house, take all the money, go to Florida, and cry about their child who got killed in Iran. That's all the boomers have ever wanted, is their children dead in a Middle Eastern war. They get excited about it. It gives them meaning. They love it. They like it. They like songs about people dying in a war, and they don't really mind if it's their own children. In fact, they prefer it. They prefer it. So that's who we're dealing with. That's who we're dealing with. Those are the people that pulled the lever for Ed Gallrein. They're people that want their children to die, preferably in a faraway Middle Eastern land in a crusade. That's who we've got in this country. That's who's on the back deck of a bar in Florida listening to Van Morrison's Domino. Oh, Domino, oh, and they're swaying in the breeze. That's what they want. They want their children dead. I've said it before. I'm not going to keep saying it. So that's why you're getting what you're getting. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how I feel about Morgan & Morgan. It's America's largest personal injury law firm. Whenever I witness an injury or a car accident happen, and I do that a lot. I do it a lot. I witness injuries in car accidents often. And I think automatically, I don't think, are they okay or should I help? I think Morgan & Morgan. I think about law and I think about lawsuits, immediately I think about the exchanging of money. Morgan & Morgan is the largest law firm in America. They have 100 offices nationwide. They have 1,000 lawyers. With over $30 billion recovered for over 500 clients, they have a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. By the way, why? What did I say? 500 clients, 500,000 clients. I said 500 clients. They have 500,000 clients. Sorry. Their fee is free unless you win. How cool is that? If you're ever injured, check out Morgan & Morgan. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/Tim or dial pound law. That's forthepeople.com/Tim or dial pound law to let them know I sent you. This is a paid advertisement. Scaling a business takes the right expertise at the right time. UpWork helps grow teams quickly to bring in specialized freelancers so you can move faster and take the business to the next level. Hiring help shouldn't be a headache or a drain on your budget. It's a one-stop platform to find, hire, and pay expert freelancers across web and software development, data and analytics, marketing, business operations, and more. UpWork helps you grow your business by giving you fast access to specialized talent across 125 categories. You can fill gaps, launch projects faster, and scale support up or down without committing to a full-time headcount. With Business Plus, you can access the top 1% of talent on UpWork. With AI-powered short listing, you'll get matched to the right freelancer in under 6 hours. No endless searching required. UpWork also cuts down operational hassle by handling things like contracts and payments in one place so you can spend time running the business. Visit upwork.com/TIM right now and post your job for free. That's upwork.com/TIM to connect with top talent ready to help your business. That's Upwork, UPWORK.com/TIM, upwork.com/Tim. Now, this economic fallout, by the way, is bad. And they're saying there's going to be a major food crisis in 6 months. And that people are not going to be able to get food. The closure of the Strait of Hormuz is not a temporary disruption, says Politico, but the start of a systemic shock to global food prices. So now, because by the way, we talked about it on Piers Morgan the other day, fertilizer, things like this, that move through the Straits of Hormuz, by the way, are not moving. So it's hurting everything. It's hurting agriculture. Decisions now by farmers and governments on fertilizer use, imports, financing, and crop choices will determine whether food prices spike later this year or in early 2027. You know who this hurts the most? Eli Lilly and the makers of the GLP-1s. The makers of the GLP-1s depend on the fact that on this planet right now, in a lot of the Western countries, specifically the one I live in, we have a lot of fatty bombatis. And Eli Lilly and many other companies are now coming up with these GLP-1 drugs that help people eat less. Great. If the food stops showing up at the grocery store, people are going to have to, or it's too expensive, people are going to have to starve naturally the way they did in the Great Depression. So no more injectables, no more GLP-1s. People are just going to have to go to bed with an empty stomach like an orphan from Oliver Twist. And the only people that will be fat will be rich people who can afford the food prices. And then you go back to the Great Depression. And that's what may happen. And by the way, that might be the plan. The government of our country might say, listen, we're going to go back to workhouses and gruel. Please, sir, may I have some more? We might be heading in that direction. Because Trump has come out and said, I don't think about the financial situation of Americans. We're just going to go to war. We're a war nation now, and too bad if you can't eat. It's going to cost you too much money to feed your children. Therefore, they have to go to Iran. It all works together, folks. It all links up together. Kevin O'Leary doesn't want your kids to eat. Let's get up Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank guy, friend of the show. Don't sue me, Kevin O'Leary. I know he sues people a lot that talk about him. All these billionaires sue people, by the way. I don't like that. I don't like the suing. You hear that? Costume designers. We don't like this. The legality of everything. What is wrong with people? When did this start? when everybody just grabbed lawyers and everybody wanted to sue everybody. And I mean, that's the only thing we have left in our country is to sue people for anything and everything we don't like. Here's Kevin O'Leary talking about that. Now, I don't hate Kevin O'Leary. I don't really know him. I've never met him. I was going to buy a condo in the building he lived in Miami years ago, and I never did. I think Shark Tank's a fine show. It's whatever. But he's building this really big data center in Utah. And a lot of people are unhappy with that because and AI is getting booed everywhere. We're going to play those commencement speeches later. But Kevin O'Leary's now on the podcast circuit. He was on Tucker, and he's talking about, hey, all technological advancements are great no matter what. This is the party line. This is the party line, by the way. All tech is good. No tech is bad. Everything's good. Every advancement is good. That's someone's phone? Sorry. Is that mine? Can't be mine. That's all right. It's a British producer. Should we answer it? Who is it? Is anyone important? We'll never know. Did you get was it a scam call? All right. It's our British producer. He's a lovely person. The British are they're very reserved, a lot of the British. Not up north, but here. Up north, they're kind of more like America. But here, if you go up to Liverpool or Manchester, they have, they've got pumped up lips and they've got fake tanner and they're fighting in the street. They're beating each other in the street and they're drunk and they're eating kebabs and kebab sauce is falling out of their mouth as they pummel someone who bothered them. That's, you know what I mean? But here it's more prim and proper and tea and sandwiches and ouds smelling and the Arabs and everybody's rich and it's Harrods and it's Knightsbridge and it's Ferraris and it's sexy and it's prep school, London, proper little gentlemen in their suits and they're, and everybody's pale and, that's kind of that. But then up north, you just have more of like, it's sort of more of a culture of, kind of gypsies and people that just like to throw hands in the street. And, I kind of like that. There's something fun about that to me. But I don't have time to get up there this trip, but next time I will. But Kevin O'Leary, friend of the show from Shark Tank, is now basically telling you're not allowed to have lunch. Remember they ran an article a few months ago I talked about where they go, you don't need a dining room? They said people just are realizing they don't need to sit and have a dining room. They go, you don't have a family. No one believes in God, so there are no holidays. You don't have a family. Why do you need more than one room where you could just sit in the corner and cry? This is what they say. And now they're coming out and going, why are you having lunch? What do you need to do with lunch? So basically, they just want to push you into a form that is not human because they're going to replace you with technology. They're quite clear about that. And in order to compete with technology, they'd very much like you to stop eating and sleeping and doing anything that might get in the way of your productivity. So here is Kevin O'Leary talking about people eating lunch and why that's becoming a problem. He talks about the financial investment that people make in eating a lunch. Kevin O'Leary.
Can't stand it when I see kids that are making 70 grand a year spending $28 for lunch. I mean, that's just stupid. It's just, think about that in the context of that being put into an index and making 8 to 10% a year for the next 50 years.
Right. So here's for the next 50 years, by the way, because everyone's got a 50-year plan. Doesn't everyone have a 50-year plan? When you go to get a panini, don't you say, I'd rather put this money in my index fund over the next 50 years? Here's the problem with this. Number one, lunch costs $28 now. That's what it costs. Lunch is expensive. It's expensive. It's not cheap. If you work in an office and they're paying you $70,000 a year, not because you're worth that or because they're electing to pay you $70,000 a year, you're taking that because it's an available job. Now, is that a true statement of your value as an employee? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. It's case specific. But he's using the example of somebody who's getting paid $70,000 a year. So that person now either has to make lunch and bring it to the office, which I'm not saying is a terrible thought, but if that person wants to go and purchase a lunch, a salad, a sandwich, a yogurt parfait plus a coffee, he's basically saying that if you're spending $28 on lunch, you're some kind of crackhead. That's what he's saying. You're like a crackhead who's financially irresponsible. You're like a shivering on the street crackhead, crack addict, because you stood in a line and spent $16 on a salad and $3.50 on a drink, and with tax and with the donation to the Child Cancer Fund, you ended up spending $26.50 on lunch, and you're a crackhead. You're a financially irresponsible drug addict, and you should be treated as such. You're stupid. He goes, that's stupid. You're stupid, and you're an idiot because you didn't go and make yourself a tuna sandwich or a turkey sandwich and bring it into work. And by the way, how much cheaper is that? Not that much cheaper. Go to the grocery store. It's not that much cheaper because we've decided to fight and lose a war with Iran, by the way. So it's not that much cheaper to buy groceries. Now, it is cheaper, but how much cheaper, I don't know. But Kevin O'Leary's point is basically like, hey, crackhead. Hey, crackhead, junkie, drug addict. Get off the line at your salad, you junkie drug addict. Don't add the guacamole at Chipotle, you drug addict. There used to be the days of the 3-martini lunch. People would spend 2 hours at Smith & Walensky's getting bombed and having fun and enjoying their life. Now people eat a bowl of slop and they're not even allowed to do that. They don't even want them doing that. They don't even want them doing that. You go and you get a bowl of slop. What's the base? What base would you like? Grain? Green? Grain or green? They talk to you with words, singular word. Grain or green? Green. Or if you have to stay at work longer, you need some carbs. Grain. I'll have grain. Meat. Chicken. I'll have the chicken. And it's always some word you can't pronounce. Some spice. Some I'll have the achoti chicken. Akachoch chicken. Grain or green? Grain. Meat. Chicken, vegetables, peppers, corn, spinach, sauce, the cilantro, lime, chipotle, and they throw it at you. And that is what they want to take away. That you can't do that even. You used to go to Smith & Walensky's in New York City or the 21 Club or wherever, and I'm sure there's equivalents of this in London. And you would sit there and they would bring you a gin martini. Hello, sir. How are you? Would you like a steak or a shrimp cocktail? And you'd have a cigarette? And yeah, you died because you ate unhealthy food. But guess what? Do you think any of those people want another 10 years eating grain, green? They go, what the hell's this? Put me back in the fucking ground. Now, people got healthier. The 3-martini lunch ended. Things evolve. I get it. I'm not saying it's the best idea to drink in the middle of the day, but compare that life to what you're doing now. And not only that, they won't allow this. They won't allow it. They go, you can't spend $28 on a bowl of dog food. You want to get some moderately healthy, organic, non-GMO dog food before getting in the elevator and going back to your desk to live a meaningless life devoid of purpose? And then going back to your overpriced condo with no dining room and slinking down onto your couch and jerking off to very violent porn before falling asleep on your bed after taking 4 edibles, waking up in the middle of the night with a panic attack, and then doing it all again the next day? Why are you spending money on lunch? Why would you spend money to just punctuate this horrific life we've created with a little bit of a panini, a ciabatta with a caprese salad? Why would you do it? Why wouldn't you, in that horrible life we've created, make a sandwich and bring it to work in a paper bag or a lunchbox and put it in the refrigerator so that so that you could save $45 a week, $60 a week, and put it in an index fund so that in 50 years, then you can, I don't even know what the hell you do. I don't even know what you would do with that money in 50 years. When everybody's a bionic human being and most of these people have left the goddamn planet. You're going to be sitting here with your index funds in whatever Mordor these people have created. You're going to, well, thank God I didn't have lunch for 30 years and I invested in this index fund so that now I have the money to buy the gear to fight the robot army that is surrounding my house. Guys, what are we thinking? You think this is going to be, you think this thing's going to look good in 50 years? No, just stop being a doom and gloomer. There's always been people like you that don't believe in the future. They're telling you they want you to not have a job and not own anything. They're coming out and telling you that's not a secret. They're telling you, they're going in front of kids that just spent 4 years, took out a shitload of student loans. Can you get up this Goldman Sachs CEO, this guy who, he's a DJ at Surf Lodge in the Hamptons. It's fucking disgusting. I'm starting to hate the Hamptons. I'm moving to fucking London. I'm going to be a goddamn gentleman before I die, and it's going to be in fucking London. Going to live in Knightsbridge like a person and convert to Islam. If something's been off in the bedroom, you're not the only one. A lot of guys wait longer than they need to take action. The difference now, getting real treatment is simple, and through HIMS, it's 100% online. HIMS connects you with licensed healthcare providers, giving you simple access to legitimate ED treatment options from home. No walk-in appointments, no pharmacy lines. Just a complete, simple online intake, and a provider will review your information to determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment ships directly to your door in discreet packaging. If it's straightforward, transparent, and designed to make getting care feel easy. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/Tim. That's hims.com/TIM for your free online visit. hims.com/TIM. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is the generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC. HIMS is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris. Lately, I've been intentional about what I wear, leaning into pieces that feel easy, comfortable, still put together, make getting dressed simpler. Quince is my go-to. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are clean, and everything just works without needing to overthink it. Quince has all the wardrobe staples for spring, 100% European linen shorts and shirts from $34. Lightweight, breathable, comfortable, but still look put together. Clean, 100%. Pima cotton tees with a softness that has to be felt. Their pants also hit the same balance, relaxed and comfortable, but still polished enough to wear pretty much anywhere. I love one of their linen shirts. It's been on constant rotation. It's lightweight and breathable, but still looks put together, and it didn't cost what I thought a shirt like that would. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/TIM for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. That's QUINCE.com/TIM for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Tim. Laughing at life is easier when you actually feel good. Between processed foods, environmental threats, the monitored stressors of just existing in today's world, feeling run down has become the norm, but your body wasn't meant to feel that way. ARMRA colostrum is nature's original superfood. Colostrum is packed with over 400 bioactive ingredients that fortify gut health, strengthen immune health, promote healthy metabolism, and fuel fitness performance, because keeping up with the chaos of modern life is a lot more fun when you have the stamina to do it. We've worked out a special offer for my audience. Receive 30% off your first subscription order. Go to armra.com/Tim or enter TIM to get 30% off your first subscription order. That's ARMRA.com/TIM. Strengthen immune health, fortified gut health, healthy metabolism, hair health, skin health. armra.com/Tim. Enter Tim to get 30% off your first subscription order. It is the best thing you can do. Let's take a look at the CEO of Goldman Sachs, again, a mentally ill person who is DJs at Surf Lodge in the Hamptons. And because he is rich, his mental illness must be regarded as a hobby. So he's DJing because it's not enough to be rich. You also have to be cool. And then he goes and gives some commencement speech. Now, I think his name's Gary Cohn. He's no longer the CEO of Goldman Sachs. I don't know what he does now. I think it got in the way of his music. But he goes up in front of this college and he's like, by the way, kids, AI's coming. And it created this new song, and isn't it great? It took 15 seconds or whatever, and I gave it some prompts, and it created this song. And all of these speakers are getting booed because they keep bringing up AI, and the kids who just graduated college, they're not kids, they're like adults ready to enter the workforce, are going, hey man, I know what you think you're saying here, but like, I really just don't have any money and I'm really scared and anxious about the future. So when you get up at my college commencement, when I'm $200K in the hole on student loans, and reminder, they don't go away in bankruptcy. They follow you until the ends of the earth. So all of these kids are going, hey, I'm $200K in the hole. And then the commencement speaker goes, hey, isn't AI great? So let's take a look at this. This is some of, I guess, some people getting booed about AI, and then we'll find the Goldman Sachs guy, who I think it was Yale or something. So what is this? Is this people getting booed?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's watch some of this.
Than in the 50 years prior. Streaming rewrote the economics. Social media rewrote the discovery model. AI is rewriting production as we sit here. I know it. Deal with it. Like
People
I
are
said,
starting
it's
to
a
boo. All right,
tool.
go to the next one. You know, they get booed. They get booed and booed and booed. And people, because these are the people this is going to affect, by the way. These people are going to be affected by this, and they know it. Here we are. We can watch this whole clip.
The rise of artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution.
They know. They
From
know
a tech
they're going
business
to be fucked.
executive to a music industry titan, AI clearly striking a sore spot.
AI is rewriting production as we sit here. Deal with it. Like I said, it's
Deal
a
with
tool.
it. That's the attitude. Deal with it.
At the University of Arizona, former Google CEO Eric Schmidt faced loud jeers on the topic.
Yep.
The question is whether you will help shape artificial intelligence. We do not know.
Yeah.
The speaker choice was controversial from the get-go. Some students launching a petition to replace Schmidt, in part because he's been accused of rape and sexual assault by a former girlfriend in a lawsuit currently under arbitration. NBC News has reached out to...
All right, try to find the Gary Cohn Goldman Sachs guy with the song. Listen, you know, again, I'm sure there are some good uses for AI. I know that it is a complex topic, but I will tell you this. Overall, I'm deeply skeptical and deeply concerned about the idea that everyone I know personally who seems very excited about AI is some type of criminal. That's all. That's all. Sorry. By the way, maybe I'm wrong. Everyone I know who is deeply excited about AI is some type of criminal. Basically, you know, people that are going out and saying, this is the way it is, get on board, stop talking about regulating it, stop talking about the social cost of implementing this technology, stop talking about how it affects you, and start embracing the global vision of a world run by machines that you will either keep up with or fall behind. And if you don't embrace it, there's nothing we could do. And it's just treated as an inevitability on a level that is deeply uncomfortable to a lot of people, especially these kids that are graduating, they're going into the real world. They all have, most of them have student debt. And most of them have grown up in a world where technology has not made everything that much better. These are the kids that grew up in the world where technology has not made things that much better. There are creature comforts, there's Uber and DoorDash, and there is Hinge, and there's dating apps, and there's fucking whatever. There's a lot of things. But they've watched it radicalize their parents. They've watched their friends get addicted to porn. They've watched it radicalize other members of their society. They've watched their friends make mistakes on it, and then those mistakes get dragged out later in their life, and then online vicious mobs come for them. These kids have grown up in a world when they were in their early teens, and now they're graduating and going into the workforce. They have seen a tremendous amount of negatives from technology. The CEOs of these companies have not. They have not. A few of them have. A few of them who like threw a woman out of a window had to then apologize for it. Well, I'm sorry I threw my secretary out of a window. People make mistakes. But if you're graduating college today, you grew up at a time when there's a very good chance technology on the whole made your life worse. It made your friend's life worse. Doesn't mean that it was all bad. Doesn't mean that I'm a Luddite and I think we should live like the Amish. It means that the idea that we can't regulate this technology, can't talk about it, can't have human reactions to it, have to immediately accept it, have to immediately think it's all for the greater good. You know, I had dinner in London the other night with some music executive, and he's like, wouldn't it be great if there was an AI comedian who was hilarious? And I went, well, I don't know, maybe not. Why would that be great? Well, it would be great. And he goes, it would get rid of a lot of the mediocre people. I go, but you got to be mediocre before you're good. There's a human development. You go from bad to mediocre to good to very good to great to what, and maybe you stop at one of them, who knows? But the entire point is that if an AI comedian can just sample every comedian or every podcast or anyone that's ever said anything and immediately, now, by the way, I don't think it can do this now, but immediately just completely steal everybody's thoughts and then regurgitate them in a way that is funny. Why? And then it takes the job from a person who spent years getting to that level. A Chris Rock, a Louis C.K., whoever, spent years getting to that level. Why? Or Chappelle, why would I be excited about an AI? I might be agnostic. I might not care. I might not view it as the end times of all life on earth. I might not, but, it was Wharton. Yeah, that. But why would I immediately because there was a light in his eyes. He was excited about it. He's like, wouldn't it be great? How cool would it be if there was an AI comedian and it was great? I go, I don't know why that would be cool. So a job done by a human being is now being done by artificial intelligence. Now, you might think that's good. You might think it's bad. You might think it's a net neutral. You might be agnostic. And there's probably reasons for all of those. Why in God's name would I just think it's great? What about that would be great? So that artificial intelligence is doing a job that used to take someone years to master, and it's able to do it in a matter of seconds, and without, by the way, the human element, and that's somehow just great. Like there's no talk, there's no conversation about that. We can't discuss the implications of that. We just have to go, that's great. What if the company your mother and father have worked at, that's just AI? Isn't that great? Well, I don't know. They kind of, that's where they got all their friends from. That's how they made their money to raise me and my sister. That's how, but isn't it great that it's now just done by AI so that these CEOs can buy another house in the Hamptons and another house in Spain? I don't know. Isn't it good that human beings now just have to figure something else out? They just have to figure something else out. And the new thing is people go, jobs are not really important. You don't really need them. Most jobs are fake. Sure. What would you like people to do? What would you like people to do? Oh, do you think without jobs and if we're all on universal basic income, everyone's going to walk around and plant community gardens? Is that what happened during 2020 when everyone got paid to stay in their house? Did that feel like a great society to live in? Or did people tribalize immediately and start trying to kill each other in the street and start burning everything down? I'm trying to remember. Is that what happens when people just don't have anything to do when they get up in the morning and there's nowhere to go? Well, jobs are fake and they're just not even necessary. Okay. So then what are people going to do? Tell me what people are going to do if the maximum goal, by the way, making life about only efficiency destroys it. Destroys it. The most efficient way to do something is if someone is bothering you, if your spouse is bothering you, the most efficient way to deal with that is to kill them. It's to kill them. If your wife is bothering you, the most efficient way to deal with that is to bludgeon her with an item on your mantle. That's the most efficient way to deal with it because immediately the argument is over if your wife is dead. Now, you might go to jail, but there's no argument anymore. So you've efficiently eliminated, in the moment, you've officially eliminated what's bothering you. And the most efficient way to end the argument is to bludgeon your wife with something on your mantle. And now the argument is over. Does that open up a Pandora's box of other problems? Most likely. The most efficient way to have an orgasm is just to masturbate, to jerk off. It's not the most pleasurable way, but it's the most efficient way. You just wake up, you jerk off, you're done. The most efficient way to make money is to steal. It's to steal something someone else has. If someone has something you like, you physically threaten them, or when they walk out of the room, you grab their wallet and run out of the house. That is the most efficient way to earn money. It's efficient. You know, now you say to me, well, but then they're going to notice, you'll lose a friend, they'll call the cops. Yeah, but we're using the AI example. We're not supposed to talk about the implications of any of this. We're talking about raw efficiency because that's good. Why talk about the social cost of any of this? We're talking about raw efficiency. What makes the most sense in the moment? What gets you there the fastest? Well, if you jerk off all the time, you're just lonely and you get addicted to porn. Efficiency. We're not talking about the social questions, the moral questions, the ethical questions. We're talking about what gets it done in the moment. And if what gets it done in the moment is the most efficient thing, we drain the meaning out of life. The meaning of life is struggle and hardship and challenge and getting through it and building the skill set that you need to do so, and then having real victories. You know, Toni Morrison wrote a great book called Paradise, which many of you are too stupid to read. And it just is what it is. It's not my fault. It's the education system. It was hard even for me to read, to be honest. I don't think I finished it. It doesn't matter. The point is, in the first 2 chapters, there's a preacher who's giving a great speech about a 2-year-old's life. And basically saying the 2-year-old experienced a lot of the challenges that you did, like a 3-year-old who died, and their life doesn't have less value than yours. It's a wild speech. It's actually really good, and it's brilliant. Whether you get anything out of that or not, he was basically saying that, like, that life, very short, had challenges baked into it, problems, moments of joy. You got to read the speech. I'm not doing it justice. Obviously, it's Toni Morrison, but the idea that you can just make life about efficiency and that you can drain all of the joy out of being knocked down and getting back up. The idea that you can just make everything about, you make it cold. We're doing it. We're seeing what it is. You make it cold. You make it corporate. You make it sterile. You make it antiseptic. You ruin it. You drain from it that which matters. You take from it that which makes you human and makes this whole thing worth doing. This is not just to maximize efficiency and increase intergenerational pools of capital. It's not just to modernize our technology to the point where it destroys our soul. That can't be the point. The point is love and family and art and community. The point is culture. The point is kindness. The point cannot simply be the maximizing of efficiency. That takes all the meaning out of it. So here again, to speak on that, David Solomon, I said it was David Cohn. That's another guy. I apologize. David Solomon, AKA, this is Goldman Sachs, David Solomon. It does say he's the CEO. Maybe he's the CEO now or he was a past CEO. I don't care. But this is AKA DJ D Soul. So this is the CEO of Goldman Sachs, otherwise known as DJ D Soul. We live in hell. Take it away. Wharton commencement.
We live in an age of self-driving cars, reusable rockets, and an app called Suno, which some of you might be familiar with. It's an AI app that helps you produce music instantaneously. As I was preparing for this, I gave it a prompt, and here's what I said. Hey Suno, I'm at Wharton's graduation, and I'd like you to make an anthem for the MBA class of 2026. Let's create an upbeat house song, approximately 120 beats a minute, that talks about why Wharton's grads should be optimistic about what's in front of them in the years ahead, and how today is the best day in the history of the world to be in their shoes, and tomorrow will be better. Here's what Suno came up with. That comes with 2 more verses and 3 more choruses. It's not out publicly yet. That took 10 seconds to create.
Okay, so these people, they're older, they're so wealthy, they just don't care what happens. They find it interesting because it is interesting. By the way, if you have the luxury of just talking about like where AI is going and hey, are we all going to leave the planet? That is interesting for sure. It's fun. It's a great topic for a dinner. But if you are needing to earn money to live, or you are concerned about your privacy, or you're concerned about AI targeting schools in Iran and blowing up children who are sitting there at their desks, which is evil. If you're concerned about AI choosing the wrong target and blowing up children who are sitting there with pencils in their hands, if you're concerned about any of that, hey, by the way, listen to this song that AI made. Isn't this cool? It made a song. Why don't you play that song for the children in that Iranian school who burned alive? How about that? Maybe they would have liked that song when you had Palantir and all these companies, these AI targeting, because now it's widely believed that AI is being used to target things in war zones and it's making mistakes. So why don't you play them that song? I'm sure they'd like to hear it. Oh, you can't, they're dead. So if you have any of these concerns, you're dismissed immediately as a loser, as a Luddite, as a crank, as someone who hates technology, as someone who can't keep up. But make no mistake, they're coming for your privacy. They're coming for your security. They are coming for your money. They're coming for your property. They're coming for your life. They're coming for your freedom. They're going to take all of those things and they're digitizing every single thing on the planet. They're going to have your money supply. They're going to have it all. They're going to control what you can spend, when you can spend it, how you can spend it, where you can travel. It is the plan. It's not a conspiracy. They kind of come out and say it. Eventually, they'll control where you live, and they'll control whether they think you're going to be a criminal or not with their predictive models of antisocial behavior. This is all in the works. It's not some type of conspiracy. And if you're concerned about that and you believe that there should be legislation introduced to make these companies accountable, and the immediate response will be, well, China. Well, China's going to do it if we don't. China's going to do it if we don't. So, by the way, get on board. We got to fight China in an AI war, and we got to enslave everyone before they do. Because if they enslave everybody with AI, they'll be able to use AI to shut off our nukes and to compromise our military security. And we're in a Cold War with China involving AI. It's what all these chips are about. And if you have a concern about your own security, privacy, autonomy, your bodily autonomy, all these people that were, and I think rightly, skeptical of this COVID vaccine and the mandating of vaccines are going to be all in on AI in terms of how that works with your bodily autonomy. All of these people that were like, Bill Gates is using the vaccine to put a chip in you, they'll sign up for Elon Musk's Neuralink chip because it'll let him say the N-word. So that's really what, I mean, so you have to start, I think, and I'm proud of these younger people who stand there and boo these people. They stand there and boo these people. And I want to shout out a woman who I think a lot of people don't really, a woman who protested this, who died to protest artificial intelligence. A woman in New York City recently stepped out of her car and threw herself in a manhole to protest artificial intelligence. She was a heroic grandmother, and she decided, after getting out of her car, RIP to this woman, she decided to throw herself in a manhole and essentially cook herself like a lobster in a pot. It's not a great way to go. She did that to protest artificial intelligence. This was an incredibly strong, like, remember that guy lit himself on fire to protest the Gaza stuff? This woman decided to throw herself down a manhole in the middle of Midtown Manhattan to protest artificial intelligence and what it means for our freedom and what it means for our culture. And this woman did it. She threw herself down a manhole. And to me, it is one of those cases that I find to be amazing, because the level of sacrifice obviously is complete, total and complete sacrifice, but it was to bring attention to this problem. People are going, it's a freak accident or whatever. People will always dismiss these things. Truly. People will always dismiss the sacrifice of others when it comes at a social cost. She decided, I'm going to throw myself down a manhole to protest the use of artificial intelligence. And this is kind of lesser known, she felt that I was getting railroaded by this designer. $115,000 for that costume. She didn't want to live in a world where I would be abused in such a manner by someone who I've only said nice things about. So she decided, bravely, to throw herself down a manhole in Midtown Manhattan in order to protest not only artificial intelligence, but she also was protesting that I'm being railroaded by a costume designer. It's extortion. She was also protesting Spotify not giving me a deal. She was very concerned, meaning I have one of the top performing podcasts in the world. It's like number 12 on Spotify, literally. And she was confused as to why I wasn't being given a overall deal with Spotify. And she chose, again, bravely, selflessly, to throw herself down a manhole in the middle of Midtown Manhattan. RIP to her. I mean, it's weird to thank someone for this, but I do think her sacrifice should wake people up at Spotify who are making costumes and who are in the AI space. Because it isn't wrong to ask for a conversation about AI. It's not wrong to ask for a conversation. It's not wrong to ask for regulation, to ask for accountability, to ask for transparency. These are not wrong. You'd want this from the financial industry. You don't get it, but it would be nice. You want it from the military industrial complex. You want it from all of these things, by the way. You want it from the people that teach your kids at school. You want it from NGOs that are privately funded that are pushing things you may or may not agree with. You want it from our elections. You want to know who's spending millions and millions of dollars to elect candidates in states like Kentucky. You want all of those things. You want it, and you should be granted an audience, meaning you should be able to have a conversation with people about AI. You should not be dictated to. You're citizens of the country. You live here. You vote. You pay taxes. You know? But too much of this administration has felt like you are passengers on a plane. There's not a curtain that separates first class from coach. It's a steel door. And every now and then they make an announcement to the coach cabinet and go, Ed Gallrein's a war hero. He almost shook my hand. He almost broke my hand. And as you're eating your peanuts and you're drinking your stale water, you go, yeah, Ed Gallrein. And then the CEO from Goldman Sachs, DJ D-Soul, gets on the ones and twos and he makes an announcement and he goes, and AI's coming. Listen to this song that AI made. And you're bopping around to the AI song and you're eating your peanuts and they go, Ed Gallrein has a handshake. He's a war hero. And then they go, what about this AI song? What about this AI song? And you're just sitting in coach and you're pressing the button. You're pressing the button and you're pressing the button and you're going, how do I just want some more water. These peanuts they're creating a paste in the back of my throat. And I can't even breathe. And you're pressing the button, and then all of a sudden, a ghostly old flight attendant comes up to you, and it's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she goes, I live in Costa Rica now. I've escaped. Do you think you can escape? Yeah, play this a little bit. This is what you'll hear. This is what you hear as you're sitting on the plane with the peanut grout in your throat, pressing water. I just want to drink water. Ed Gallrein has a handshake. War hero. Navy SEAL. AI is good. AI is good. You don't need money. You don't need life. Stop eating lunch. Stop eating lunch. AI is good. Ed Gallrein has a handshake. He's a Navy SEAL. Epstein is fake. Stop eating lunch. Ed Gallrein has a handshake. He's a Navy SEAL. Close the files. Stop eating lunch. Make a sandwich. Make a sandwich. You don't have a life. Make a sandwich. Make a sandwich. You don't have a wife. Jerk your dick and sit on the floor. This is what we've done this for. You don't own shit anymore. You don't have a life. Good night from London.